Hello? Hello! And welcome to an episode of... I don't know, we still don't have a name for it, so we're gonna call it the Tentative, not TCG. I'm your host, Not, and today we will be designing a card game. Now, I don't know a lick about card games. I've never played a card game before, never touched a single cardboard, cardstock, ever. Never ever. I've never played a single game of anything. You know. So I have no clue what a card game is. No. Absolutely. So what makes a bad card game? Coming from a person who's never ever played a card game before. That's a lie. I've played plenty of card games, by the way. It's a terrible lie. I mean, you've guys seen me play the Pokemon trading card game. I hopefully looked like I knew what I was doing. Hopefully. Not trading card game. Not to be confused with not game. Yeah, see, I need to find a better naming convention for these things. It's not sustainable. oh dear. Get it? Oh my gosh. That's so terrible. Bad card games. What makes a bad card game? I don't know. You know, when a card game is released, it's like, wow, you know, that's pretty cool. You have like, I don't know, you have the cool card. Well, sorry, you have the card, and then you have like the cool dragon over there. He's like, oh wow, I have 3,000 power or something. Then everybody's like, yeah, I play this card. He's super cool. But then, you know, 20 years down the line, it's like, oh well, I have this new card. And it's, you know, also like a super cool dragon. But it has like 3,000 power. And you're like, oh, well, you know, that's fine, right? Except, it also has, effect number 1 that gives you like, I don't know, you know, a +2, whatever that means. And you have effect number 2. It also gives you another +1. And you have effect number 3 that says you win. Right? And you're like, well, yeah, that's power creep. What makes a bad card game? I don't know, but I know that we want to avoid power creep. That's the first thing we want to avoid. Power creep. Right? Power creep is bad. It's like capital bad. I think we can all agree that if there's anything you don't want to see in your card game, it's power creep. Now the issue is say, yeah, okay, well if we have, you know, if we don't have power creep, how are we supposed to get people to buy our cards? Because I mean, if you're just gonna release like dragon, but it's not a dragon, but it mechanically speaking, right? It's a fairy now. And it also has 3,000 power. It's like, well, that's the same thing. What's the difference? It all becomes homogeneous, right? And you don't exactly want all your cards to become homogeneous. That's a lowercase bad. A lowercase bad. Because then it really only becomes a game of aesthetics. If the fairy deck doesn't have anything different from the dragon deck, then, well, you're just gonna be seeing the same cards over and over again. Like, this is the big monster that gets summoned. And you're like, oh cool, you know, I recognize that. I could just replace it for the dragon. And yeah, it would all be the same. So you can't, you don't want that as well. So there's two things we want to keep in mind here right now. We have homogeneous, or homogeneous, it's not just well, it's short for like, same card traits, I guess, across like the field, across the board, across all the cards. And then you have power creep. Power creep! So we can't avoid power creep, and we don't want this homogeneous card design, then... Oh yeah, because like, okay, so if we want to avoid power creep, then there's a limit. There's a limit we have to adhere to. I kind of lost where I was going with, but yeah, there's a limit. There's a limit, and we don't want everything to be the same things. So I guess this here means that we want to establish. We want to establish a power limit, right? Because if we do that and we say, okay, so you see this 3,000, we're never going to go beyond that. Now, there may become exceptions, see. I think what can happen is maybe we say this is the limit for like the big cards, right? And then if we want to go above and beyond, then we have to introduce constraints, right? There's costs. So there's a price for power. And another issue is that, yeah, sure. So say we have this big monster, right? And it's like, oh wow, you have 4,000 power now. And the condition to get this guy in is stack all. And so you're throwing away, you know, all the cards that you have to get this one big guy on the field. That is your winning condition, right? That's your big cost. The issue here is that costs should not be circumvented. Because you have a whole bunch of you know, you have a few cards that have that might have really good synergy, right? It might be like, say, another card that says, oh, well, if you sacrifice me, I get to return to the board free of charge. And that is bad design because it's free. No free. No free price. No free cost. Right? There shouldn't be no such thing as a free cost. What do you mean you can't just play Blue Eyes? Well, see, to play Blue Eyes, you have to tribute 2 monsters on your side of the field. But in more recent days of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Scene, you'll see that it's like, oh, okay, so we have, like, 5 other Blue Eyes that you can actually play, and one of them just says, hey, you can special summon this free of charge if you have another Blue Eyes in your hand. Just show it to your opponent, and you can, you know, special summon him. And then there's another one that says, hey, you know, if this guy is in the graveyard, you can also special summon him. Once per turn. Hopefully. I don't remember. Maybe there was an errata. But yeah, oh, and there's another one that says, well, there's another support card, right? And that just says, hey, you know, if this card is on the field, you can actually summon Blue Eyes for free. 2-card combo, very honest, thank you. No, it's terrible. It's for free. You shouldn't be able to get stuff for free. So there is no such thing as a free cost. Now, what I would, and I can encourage this, is, say, you had a card that has a cost to be played. So, if, say, for example, you had that sacrifice card, right? Okay, so if this card gets sacrificed, you can resummon it. Well, if that's the case, there should still be a price to be paid. Say it's like discard a card, or pay 5 mana, right? Stuff like that. Because, you know, free costs simply enable degeneracy. It gets too powerful. We can't have that. Any future card you create will have to keep that into consideration. So if you somehow make like, okay, some optimal subpar card that's free, but nobody really uses it because, well, it's free, you have better cards to use because, I don't know, they're also free, but they're even more free because you get more stuff. Whatever. And then you create another card that has really good synergy with the subpar card, and suddenly that subpar card becomes really, really good. You have a problem. You have a problem. And we don't want that. So, power creep is bad, and there should be no free cost. No free cost. Never, ever, ever. Never, ever. Bad card games, right? No. That's just like, I guess, standard. Or, well, okay, actually no. So this cost, right? This cost here. No, we already talked about that. That's fine. Talked about power creep, and then. But yeah, so this is regular card game design stuff. Degeneracy is. You kind of want to prevent that. Homogeneous stuff is just kind of bland. Power limit. Keep that in mind. The power limit should be respected. There should be no such thing as free stuff. And where was I? Right, yes, marketing. Why can't you create a stronger card so people buy it? Well, that's because if it's that strong and everybody uses it, you are actively, like, sabotaging your card game. Because everybody will want the new thing that's viable. And, I mean, yes, that makes sense to do that. So, if there was any power creep, I think it would have to come in packs. So, new series. It would have to be an entirely new series. You can't just say, okay, we're gonna have an expansion with like 10 different cards, and they are all just the best cards now. You can't have that. What we can have is an entirely new series, so like a version 2 or a version 3, right? And in version 3, you have a whole bunch of... but will it mill? Absolutely. A mill archetype will exist. Just for you. I love milling my opponent's combo pieces and just not letting them be able to combo off into a 20-minute combo. That makes my day because it prevents them from doing, I don't know, wasting 20 minutes of my life. Okay, now you can only waste 5 minutes of my life. How do you feel now? Oh, you're not letting me play the game! Where? Nah, suck it. You're not letting me play the game. I'm not sitting here watching you combo up in, like, for half an hour. Gambling archetype. Oh my gosh, yes, gambling archetype. Okay. We're getting somewhere. Mill archetype. Mill. Gambling. Oh yeah. I'm already feeling it. This is good. This is a really good start. Mill and gambling. Okay. Now that we have sort of the idea on how we want to have our just a general scope of coin flips. Yeah, now that we have sort of a scope for, hey, maybe these things aren't good ideas. I think we can move on to actually designing a card game. So what do I want? Well, I want a system. I don't exactly really care about the theme right now, which is kind of bad. Because usually you sort of already have a theme that you design around, so the system makes sense. But for me, I'm a little bit more obsessed with the system than the actual, like, theme here. Yeah, maybe we might have some sort of, like, fantasy theme going on. And it's just like, yeah, that's fantasy. Anything really goes. 1/1 minion for 1 mana that kills your opponent on turn 1. Amazing. That is... turn 1 success. That's terrible. We won't have that. That is bad game design. You should not be able to win on turn 1. There has to be some sort of back and forth. Actually, yeah, let's go back here. Let's turn 1. Turn 1 win. Well, that's because... also bad with the capital B. No OTKs? Yeah, no OTKs. OTKs are... they're stupid. They're... even if you were playing a gambling coin flip game, right? No OTKs. Like, the only OTK I can support would be, like, winning blackjack 31 times in a row. But that's also a degeneracy because, you know, you're playing your own little game of solitaire for 31 rounds. And you're just not letting your opponent play. Like, they don't interact with you. That's bad game design. That's bad card game design. You want to promote interaction. And when I say interaction, I don't mean a card that says, no, you don't get to play that card. That is not really interaction. That's effectively saying you don't get to play the game. And when you put out 5 of those on the board, you're straight up saying you don't get to play the game. Like, just, I don't know. 20-minute combos, this is terrible. We need to return to the 90s where you play 4/5 minion and everyone loses their mind. Yes. You know, that is soul. Yes. That is what we should return to. Exactly. You get it. You're starting to get it. So for the system here, I have this this visualization of an incredible thing called a 3x3 board. This may or may not seem familiar to you, but this is the playing field for our cards. I cast Hurlon Minotaur and pass my turn. Oh my god, he cast the Hurlon Minotaur! Berlin Minotaur. Incredible. Oh, what can we do? I think he's... I don't know, man. I think I gotta counterspell that one. My 2-mana counterspell. I can't have that on the field, man. No, that's... just can't. But yeah, we have the 3x3 here, the 3x3 grid, and we just place cards in here. Right? Looking good. I die and kill myself. Understandable. I just deleted your boss monster with 2 mana. It's that easy. And our opponent also has, say, a 3x3 board here. Right? Then the cards themselves, I think I want them to have arrows. I'm not sure if I want diagonal arrows, but we will consider them for now. Actually, no, that's fine. I do think that works really well. Yeah, we can have diagonal arrows because then you put this big fat guy in the center board, right? And it just has arrows pointing at everything. No, that works. Cards! Let's go! Ooh, yeah! Yeah, oh yeah, I love card games. I love card games so much, guys. Oh, they're amazing. I hate card games too. I also hate card games. I blame Power Creep. So yes, so you have the card and you have arrows, right? And then when a card with an arrow points to another card, you get a bonus. You get a bonus effect, right? A book player should also have 3 3x3 stacked boards stacked on top of each other like Star Trek chess. Star Trek! You know, if we're thinking like a 3x3 grid by 3x3 by 3, that might actually work. No. You make a good point. Imagine this for a second. Where we have like 3 layers, right? And each of them has their own little grid here. 3-dimensional card games! Oh my gosh! I don't know how I can support that though, because this card here is, you know, a 2-dimensional object. Oh man, no, that would be really cool. It would be really weird to pull off, but it would be really cool. But, oh my gosh, no, that would be so cool. The card game with time travel. Oh my gosh, no, wait! Wait, what if, okay, so we started at here, right? We started this card, okay, so like, this is, you put cards at the bottom here, right? You put cards at the bottom level. Always play mid to protect both layers. No, and then you have to play a card here. And then, as you play that card, right? It goes up. Well, actually, no, you don't have to play the card here. You can play it upwards, right? So this is time. This is space. Right? So if you play a card at the bottom layer, at the next turn, your cards move up to the middle layer. If you play a card at the middle layer, your cards move up to the top layer at the end of the turn. And when the card at turn end, on the top layer, the card goes to the discard pile. Oh my gosh. What have we created? What is this monstrosity? And so, you know, a card gets 3 lifetimes. Like a lifetime of 3 instances here. Yeah, you can see possible future actions. Yeah, potentially, right? maybe like, I don't know. You always aggro at the bottom layer before they can set up a defense. Oh my gosh. You know, and then like, on interaction here, I think your opponent also has a grid. So, the bottom grid... Well, the top grid interacts with... I think the top grid will affect both the middle and the bottom grid, right? So the top grid is really powerful because it can affect the rest of the board. And the middle grid can affect the bottom grid, right? And the bottom grid just kind of stays there. It only affects the bottom. It's just such bullshit because they introduced that one cyber yellow card that stays in mid for 3 turns. It ruins the meta. See, now that we're thinking about time, right? That's also that becomes a very important resource. So if you're cheating time, we're gonna have problems. You don't want to cheat time. That's just stupid broken. Yeah, no, I agree. You should not. That card should just be banned. I don't know why they created that card ever. It's so bad. It's so stupid. It didn't just ruin the entire meta. It ruined the entire video game. If you come to a tournament and you see a guy who pulls that card out, you just scoop. Like, there's no answer unless you pull the same card out. It's terrible. Oh, okay, well, there's an answer, right? It's called, like, World Fire, and you just destroy all the cards, right? Oh my gosh, no, you're not playing fair anymore. Well, you pulled that cyber yellow card out. You have no right to complain. Digression aside, this is really, really stupid. This is amazing. It makes sense. It works. So... effects, right? Oh my gosh. It was fine when Crimson could sack the Vitality to send that one legendary card back in time. Now they just want to sell more boosters. I know, money grabbing company. Man, can't be honest in today's economy. Yeah, oh man, this is really cool. So, top layer affects, you know, all layers at the bottom. So what happens is, say I play a monster. Well, I summon Soldier. I summon a 1/1 Soldier at bottom layer, and he's going to attack you for 1 damage. You're like, oh my gosh, that's fine. You know, it's only a 1/1 Soldier. So, you know, he attacks you. And then on the next turn, well, he moves up. And because of his special ability, he becomes a 2/2 Soldier. And he's going to attack you, right? You're like, you know what, that's fine. But, once he gets to the top layer, he has a lot of experience. So he attacks you, he becomes a 4/4 Soldier, and then he attacks you for 4 damage now. That's crazy. That's huge value. But you have to consider he progresses through time. And he takes most of his vantage at the top layer. Well, at the bottom layer, right? So if you play him at the top layer, well, you're not getting value. Ever. And I guess the same case is true. Maybe you have, like, backwards time travelers, right? Maybe you have a card that goes from top to bottom. Now that would be a cool archetype to play. Oh my gosh. Nuts? We are cooking so hard right now. I am a chef, and I am designing a monstrosity of a gourmet with you all. And I'm starting to hate it already. This is just too complicated to play. It's so cool, but nobody would play this. It's so cool, but It's too complicated. Like, you look at this grid and you're like, I don't understand. I'm not going to bother reading. Right? I just want to unga bunga. Oh my, it's so cool though. No. There's gonna be a format that, oh, I need a format for this. Oh my gosh. And then, no, this is so cool though. You can have things like, okay, I summon, okay, so let's say you have like, you played a 1/1 soldier in the middle, you played another 1/1 soldier on your next turn, right? And then your opponent says, oh, well, no, I can't have that. I need you to die. So they drop a big 10/10 monster at the top layer. And so this big 10/10 monster at the top layer will therefore affect, influence, and destroy all the cards at the very bottom there, right? From middle to bottom, so top, middle, bottom. So it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna do Kamu and you, right? And it goes through the layers like that. Well, rather, actually, what's happening is, well, yeah. It's sort of weird, actually. It's weird. I know. It's like, how does, like, casting something in the future affect things in the past? Shouldn't casting things in the past affect things in the future? But technically you're already doing that because the cards keep on moving upwards. So it really is a time game. Oh my gosh. It does sort of make sense though. And I think because time is also a resource, I would say you are able to play bigger cards at the top. Because they're only going to stay there for one round, right? The paradox mechanic is weird. Paradox mechanic. We're gonna call it the paradox mechanic. Paradox mechanic. Oh my gosh. You guys are enabling me too hard. This is too much. Oh. This enabled me so much. Oh man, that is crazy. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. What is this? Oh. Oh my goodness. My brain is firing so many neurons right now. I am having a grand time. Oh, it's crazy, dude. That's crazy, dude. Okay. Let's ignore this monstrosity for now. It's too powerful. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the singular grid right now, right? Wait, but oh my gosh, hold on. So with that grid, right? Oh my goodness. No turn 1 power cards. I'm banning those. I'm not even gonna bother making them. Oh. But a choice having giving the players a choice is good. That is a power card. So we have this grid, right? And I think what happens is everything is going to be contained in this singular grid. I think that works. But at the same time, I do kind of want the opponent to have their own board. Right? So it's not just you. It's that you have both players have their own little cubes. Right? And the cubes interact with each other. Because on one end, right, you want to be... it's like having your own field. you don't just kind of throw something onto your opponent's field. Your fields interact with each other. So say I have a card here, I have a card here, right? Well, my opponent places their card here and places their card here. Something like that. You know? Oh my gosh. That's kind of cool if you think about, like... Oh man, okay. Yeah. So, going back to, like, the actual mechanics here. You have, like, player 1 and you have, like, player 2. You know, 2 boards, right? And you have a bonus here. So, cards that link with each other, right? So you have arrow here, and you also have an arrow here. Then you get double bonus, right? Bonus. Yeah, bonus plus. Yeah. And so part of the game here is that you can link up a whole bunch of them, right? So let's say you have a left, down. Well, that's a right down, and you have a right, left, and then you have a card that goes up, right? And then you get things like this. So you have an up, down, right? And you have an up, left. Things like this, right? You can get huge synergy. You get synergy just like that. Before the game starts, each one of you gets to place down 2 cards on turn 0. Oh my gosh. No free cards. If you listen closely, you can almost hear her trying to not think about the time game. Oh. No, don't make me think about it right now. I'm trying to think about the structure first, just for one layer. Hear me. I'm so sorry. Don't this is really cool. This is really cool. Oh man, it's so cool. Well, yeah, so you have synergy here. So you actually like to pair up cards, right? Oh, but that's where things get really nasty, because we also want card effects. That target adjacent linked no, that's a bad example. We have area, and then we have area of effect abilities too, or area of effect effects. Chaos Confetti for Magic the Gathering. Maybe. So what happens here is we have cards that deal, like, they target, maybe a 2x2 grid, right? So we have AoE cards, right? And say, like, this is a 2x2 damage. What happens here is when you have AoE cards, you are risking risk, right? This is the risk. I think I get it. Okay, let me try and articulate this. So you have synergy when you link your cards up. And usually this means your cards are going to be adjacent to each other. But because they're adjacent to each other, you are risking cards that have area of effects cards that have area of effect effects, AoE effects, because this big damage, right? This becomes big damage because it can target all of your cards in that zone, well, on the field, right? And that is bad news for you. So while you want synergy, you also want to have a decent spread across your board in case of area effects. So AoE can get very deadly, and I think that's how you balance synergy. So not only will we have 2x2s, we might have like 3x3s, or we might have like corners, we might have plus signs, you know, might like have one column or one row, things like that, right? So plenty of area of effect. Yes. Plenty of AoE. That would be so cool. Yeah, it is so cool. So how do you defeat the opponent? Right. What I'm thinking here is we have life points. Well, we have shield points. We have shield points. And shield points will be like a stack of cards that come from your deck, right? And you have, I don't know, like 10 of them. And they're face down on a stack. When you take damage, you look at this, you uncover one of your shield points. And when your shield points hits 0, that means the next hit will ruin you. You lose the game that way. And shield cards will have a funny mechanic, I think. At minimum, what it does is you put that card in your hand. So it's a comeback mechanic. You take damage, you get another card that you might be able to play next turn. And if you take like 5 damage the next turn, right? Well, if you take 5 damage from your opponent, you get to draw 5 shield points. So it's like, that's kind of huge. That's a huge comeback, right? So it's something like that. I want to see something like that. So how many cards will have cute girls on them? Everyone. Every single card will have a cute girl. Maybe I might, well, not every single one. Maybe I might put like a cute dragon on there, or a fluffy slime, but lots and lots of cute girls. They sell well. Big damage, long setup, yes, but funny AoE would wipe them, yes. It's a good balance. Is there going to be a possibility of this card game doing a collaboration with the LEGO company? No, I'm sorry. No Bionicles. I'm very sorry. There's like, well, no. I'm not gonna completely dampen your hopes. There's a minuscule chance. It is a non-zero chance of happening. There is a non-zero chance of this happening. Yes. There is going to be a possibility. It's 50-50. It either happens or it doesn't. Okay, so where were we? We had shield points. And we were going to talk about... Right, comeback mechanic, right? Comeback. No, I know, like, it's just drawing a card, right? How does that help me? I know, like, various card games have sort of toyed around with different sorts of shield points. I know one of them is like, hey, flip this card over, and if it has a special ability in it, like half your cards have special abilities when they are in the shield point zone. So you flip that over and it does something cool. The cost is taking damage, right? The cost is your opponent is hitting you to the face or dealing damage to you. So yes, taking damage might work. The one thing I want to be careful about is manipulation of shield points. Because in theory, what you can do with this system is you can heal yourself by milling your deck. So it's like I take the top 3 cards of my deck and I set them down as shield points. You know, I've healed myself. And then, you know, when you take damage, you naturally get to draw those cards. So it's like, what if I played a spell card, or, you know, I played a card that lets me take damage? I think if that's the case, you don't get the benefit of shield points going into your hand. You just simply remove them, send them to your graveyard, right? You don't get to play them. They don't go to your hand. I think that should be the cost, and that's a very strong cost. As for healing, you are milling yourself, sort of. Although, you know, it does kind of let you draw a lot of cards. That's a little bit of an issue, too. Because it starts becoming less and less of a comeback mechanic, and just sort of a, yeah, come and hit me, right? As long as you don't take, I don't know, a maximum amount of shield points that you have, then you're in good shape, right? It's like, as long as I don't die, then I can just keep on coming back. Actually, no, that's a viable archetype. What am I talking about? But if you are going to play that viable archetype, I think... Let's see, well, you can't just, like, keep on drawing cards then, right? So there has to be a price. There has to be another cost. There has to be some sort of balance. I will come back and think about that later, but the idea is that you get to use those cards, right? Those cards come in clutch. Maybe it might be like you flip over and it's like, oh, you destroy the attacker, right? Ooh, the attacker gets destroyed. So it's a risk. The prize of milling is your opponent's tears. It's so true. But yeah, that's how you win. So shield points drop to 0. Then the last hit is the finishing blow. And then... for card design alone, apparently we really want, attack and defense. And that's really it. Like, you guys really seem to like the attack and defense, right? And that's really cool, right? It's like, oh, the number is bigger here, so it wins. Or it's like, oh, the number is smaller here, so nothing happens. But I want to introduce a whole lot more stats. I want to introduce magic. I want to introduce Resistance, I want to introduce speed. Now that's weird. That is really weird now. Now that you have RPG stats in card games, absolutely. 5 numbers! Oh boy, I wonder how we can keep track of all of these. I know, that sounds like a nightmare, right? It becomes really interesting though, doesn't it? Because now you can have a card with, say, like, 0 attack? But like 100, well, but like 10 magic, right? And that counters. Well, hang on. That's not a large enough space. Yeah, so it's like, say you have a 0 attack, and then you have like a 10 magic, 10 resist, 0 defense, and like 5 speed, right? And then you go and you fight against like a 10 attack, 0 magic, 0 resistance, 10 defense guy, and like 5 speed, right? 5 speed guy. What happens here is the first thing we can do is we can check the speed stat. And because the speed stats are the same, they both exchange damage at the same time. And because magic looks at resistance, right? And attack looks at defense. So when we say, uh-oh, your resistance is 0, it's lower than my magic, then the card gets destroyed. But then we look at attack, and we're like, uh-oh, your attack, well, your defense is less than my attack, so your card gets destroyed. Now, if this was, say, 0, and then, like, say the attack was 0, right? Well, no, but like, let's actually do a different example. Say that the speed was 10 here. Suddenly, you know, your speed is higher. So it's like, oh, well, I directly counter you. Like, I deal damage before you take any, well, before I take any. So if you die, then it's over for you. Right? This card gets deleted, this card remains. But the issue with this is that it's too many numbers. It's 5 numbers. And, you know, why do that when you can condense things into just power and toughness, attack and defense? Why do that when you have a simpler approach? Well, I kind of want to say, I want to have a game of rock, paper, scissors, right? And I know it's a little bit more numbers than usual, but it's better than seeing, I don't know, like a paragraph of text for more complicated interactions. This promotes really good interaction, I think. Now then, you can also have interesting things like, oh, I have 1 magic, and I have, well, no, you have, like, 0 defense, and you have, like, 10 speed, but you have, like, 10 attack. And so, this is lethal, right? Rogues and assassins are going to be super lethal. Because while they don't have any defense, they don't need that defense. They don't need that toughness. Oh, I would say, yeah. Now, okay, maybe you might need at least like 1 point in toughness. or resistance. If either drop, well, if you have neither, so if both are 0, then the card is also destroyed. But yeah, say you have like a super fast card that deals a pretty good amount of damage, right? Maybe it's not 10, 10 might be overkill, say it's like 5, but you know, the speed is 15. So against, you know, like a tanky card, which has like maybe like 1 speed, right? And like 10 attack, so it hits pretty hard if it can get a hit, but it's pretty slow. You know, maybe it has like, I don't know, 7 defense. So it has 7 defense. And you're like, oh well, now I can't break through that. That's where you get your magical rogues as well. So say you have like a 5 magic attack and that's 3 resistance. Like, oh well, you die. You get assassinated. It's pretty cool, right? You have things that bypass the right defense. And then you have things like mage killers, which have, you know, high resistance, high attack. Or you have like the mage tank who sacrifices speed for higher defense. And you have cards that don't attack at all. And we call these cards 0 speed cards. If a card has 0 speed, then the card does not get to act. It acts as a wall, right? Because 0 speed means you don't move at all. I'll be honest, what you have illustrated here looks like the scribbles of a paranoid schizophrenic on the panic walls of their cell. I love it. Thank you. That I will take that as a blessed compliment. Yeah, so 0 speed here means you don't get to move at all. That's a key aspect. 0 speed. So there are zeros, right? 0 speed. No act. No act. No action. No combat action. Right, it can't even attack. No attack. Actually, yeah, well, actually, no attack. No attack. Zero defense. And 0 rest equals dead. So I'm not sold on defense. I think I might call it toughness, right? Much like Magic the Gathering. But for now, I will keep that name set up. Maybe you could call it like barrier and toughness. So you have the magic barrier and you have like the physique toughness. Well, I mean, you guys are here watching, right? So I need your input. Do you think 5 numbers is like 3 too many for a card game like this? Or is that just right in like the form of, oh, a different damage type? What do you think? It has to be single digits. So your card only has a power value. Is that what you're telling me? That's fair. That's fair. But I don't like it though. This is gonna be... yeah, it might be a bit much. Maybe if I scribble out like the magic aspect. So you just have your combat power and your speed. Maybe that might work. You've played Pokemon, right? Pokemon has a special attack and a physical attack. This is effectively the Pokemon stat spread. You have a speed, you have physical attack, you have special attack, you have defense, and you have special defense. And you know, kids play Pokemon. Right? When we're talking about this sort of card game, I'm sure it can be picked up pretty easily. You know? I suppose, okay, part of the problem might be... that is true, you only have like 1 or 2 out at a time, but in this case you can have like 9 out at a time. Yeah! That's a lot to keep track of, huh? You're right, because I mean, we are working with a lot more in quantity already. And do we want to keep track of all of these numbers? Alright, hear me out. If you let your opponent fill a board with 4 or more units, you're in for a really bad time. There shouldn't be a case where there becomes, like, when the board becomes filled. If that happens, then somebody is playing a really bad game. You get me? At that point, that board effectively says, I win. Oh! Damage to the player. Right. I mean, if we keep it single digits, it should be fine, right? Because, as a reminder, these guys can also hit your face. So maybe I might want to rearrange the stats a little bit. 5 is actually a pretty huge number. I think we're going more for, like, I guess 2. One is already pretty huge. No, actually 2 is like the average value, I guess. Yeah, and then 0 attack, maybe like 3 magic. That's already pretty huge. Let's say it's like 2. And then resistance also at 2. Defense at 0. Yeah, okay, something like that, a 2 spread. You should be able to make it a 2v1 by calling a friend. I might actually have a call a friend mechanic. I'll get to that, actually. I'll get to that. I guess part of the issue here is also, like, you know, if somebody says I'm running a full magic deck, right? You can be like, okay, well, I set up my anti-magic barrier. You know, that's just like, oh, you know, 1 card deck that you play, and suddenly magic becomes really, really useless. And when you build your deck, you kind of have to keep in mind that, I need a good spread between attack and magic now, right? I just can't have a full team of wizards. So, yes, that sort of makes sense, but that does lock you out in archetypes. Yeah, okay. I think we aren't going to... You're right, we don't want that extra. That goes away, this goes away. We just have our attack and defense, right? But I will keep the speed. 3 at max. Yeah. You should be able to put 4 cards from any other card into your deck. They can't be the same card or from the same game. I don't know, man. That sounds kind of like cheating. Maybe if we had a side deck, but maybe actually they could be called emergency cards, right? You know, like a side deck. But the side deck that you actually get to use. It's like, hang on, I see you're playing this, let me pull that out. Oh, that sounds kind of stupid though. It's like, What's stopping you from getting the contingency card that says, I feel light? If I have enough speed, can I take turns in advance? No, because... Well... No. No. You're already effectively taking turns in advance by placing a card on the top layer. What if I paint the card red to make it faster? Oh wait, sorry, we don't want to talk about the layers just yet. My bad. But yeah, no, it's because the card is the one that has speed. The player doesn't have speed. In fact, as a player, you're a 0 speed unit, and if I were to turn you into a card... What if you paint the card red and make it go faster? No, I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. So yeah, okay, we're gonna have a speed stat. We're gonna spice things up with a speed stat. But that's it. That's all we get. Let me just delete this. And rewrite it. Yeah, no extra magic stat. That's too much, you're right. It would be cool, but it's too much. Unfortunately. So we have attack. We have defense. And then we have speed. Zero speed is equal to no attack. Zero defense is equal to dead. Alright. I stabbed myself with Pyrexian mana. No, stop cheating. Then... yeah, then we have the effects. Okay. That looks really good. And then the attack is straight up damage. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe shield points should be... Maybe they might cover, like, every quantity of life points. Maybe. Unless you want to, like, mill half your deck. Or, like, turn half your deck into life points or shield points. It's like, I deal 20 damage to you, you draw 20 cards. That would be crazy. But it works. It does work. We might be able to make it work. I guess it really depends on how big I want the numbers to be. We can like tweak the balance. We have to have balance tweaking for those. But otherwise, I think this is a good core. Okay, so the next core is counterplay. Okay. What is counterplay? Alright. So I think this is the one thing that should make this card game vastly different from other card games. Every card can be played in response to another card. You are effectively playing a counterspell game. Every card is counterspell. Every card is instant. Every card is a hand trap. As an example, everyone plays blue? Oh, you better believe it! Well, okay, as an example, and turns are also different, okay? Whatever resource we're using, let's say we have a resource, right? We have a resource, and we use that resource to play cards. Right? We have a resource that is used to play cards. But we play in rounds, right? We play in, well, no, we play in, yeah, rounds. We don't exactly play in turns. There really isn't a turn, if you will, because round 1, player 1, first card. Every round, resources replenish for both players. You play at the same time and speed is effect order. No. What happens here, speed for the cards is, what's it called? For when they go into combat. So this is like for, like, creature cards. Unit cards, right? My bad. That's for unit cards. So that's when they combat each other. The faster one moves first. You can think of it like the first attack keyword, except for like every card, except it's built in with the speed mechanic. So on round 1, okay, so the counterplay here is that we played rounds. Every round, resources replenish for both players. On round 1, player 1 plays the first card. And after player 1 plays the first card, player 2 has the opportunity to play their card, right, in response. And they do that by casting their resources. And so when they play that card, player 1 has the opportunity to then respond and play another card. So say like, we have a 3x3 grid. Oh yeah, we have the 3x3 grids. And player 1 says, okay, I'm gonna play a card in the center field, right? I'm gonna summon my 1/1 soldier. And player 2 is like, okay, I respond, right? I get to play a 2/2 knight in the center field to counterplay you. And so on resource end, where, you know, players end, well, yeah, on like main phase end, right, you enter combat phase. And so normally like these guys combat, right, and then the knight wins because the knight is a 2/2, the soldier is a 1/1, and the knight just kind of beats the soldier out. So you've effectively wasted resources. But if we go back to main phase, player 1 also gets to respawn, right? And so player 1 is like, okay, hold on, no, I don't want that happening. So I'm going to actually respond and play a buff spell. Well, no, I'm gonna respond and play another soldier. It's another 1/1 soldier, and it's gonna go beside this soldier. And what happens is you trigger, say, like a link effect, right? You trigger a link effect that buffs the 1/1 soldier in the center field. And so when you go into combat now, the 1/1 soldier is now a 3/3 soldier with the buff. And so he wins out this combat. Or he can become, say, it's just like a +1/+1. The soldier becomes a +2, well, the soldier becomes a 2/2, and when he clashes with the knight, you know, they both die. right? And so they empty out, and player 1 ends up with a card advantage of the field with, you know, a buffer, right? So these guys disappear, and you're left with this guy on the field for later interactions. Which is really cool, I think. Now, there's another case where you can be the player 1. You can go, say, player 1 summons their soldier in the center. It's like any responses. Player 2 says no responses, right? So player 1 is like, okay, well, I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna summon a buffer here. I'm gonna summon my support unit, and it's gonna go behind the soldier. And the soldier's like, he gets buffed, he gets stronger, and any responses. And player 2 is like, no, I still don't have a response. And so player 1 is like, okay, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna summon another unit, right? And my unit's gonna go over here. Then you're like, okay. Player 2 is like, okay, I finally play my response, right? And it's gonna be an AoE damaging effect, which it's a 2x2. It will therefore target everybody in this blast zone, and they all die. And so, you know, player 1 is obviously like, oh, darn it, right? That sucks. But you've effectively, you know, canceled out all the resources. So, there's also a case where you could be like, okay, well, I've set up my 2 buffers, and player 1 hasn't done a response yet. If I use up all my resources, player 2 is waiting for me to use up all my resources. And I know this, because he hasn't used any of his. So I'm actually going to pass. I'm going to pass the turn, right? But well, no. Yeah, I'm gonna pass the turn now. You can do this. And so when player 1 passes the turn, right, player 2 gets to play their cards. And you can pass back and forth, but when both players pass in succession, you move to the combat phase. I think that's what I want to do, which means that both agree that, hey, we don't have any other cards to play. So let's move into combat, right? So now player 2 gets to play a card, right? Because player 1 passed. Now player 2 has resources, so say, okay, well, player 2 can now say, okay, I'm gonna summon, you know, my 3/3 warrior here. Well, like, I'm gonna summon my 2/2 knight here, and it's gonna beat your back row guy, right? He's gonna go and attack the support unit that's kind of weak. And that's instead of, you know, playing like a big field wipe, because, well, player 2 didn't need to do that. And so player 1 is like, okay, you know, in response, I'm actually gonna drop my buffer, another support here that also supports this guy, right? And so he gets a little bit of a buff, and, you know, those guys cancel out. And player 1, well, and then player 2 can also respond by going, okay, well, I dropped my own support unit. And it gets really cool, because it is a web of play and counterplay. Like, web and flow, an ebb and flow of play and counterplay. It's really cool like this. Everything is a trap card, everything is a hand trap. And you have a limited amount of resources, right? You have this resource pool, you can call it mana or whatever, right? It's there. It's like, no, oh, I have a shield moment. Yeah, no, it's so cool, right? It's like a series of no use until you run out of no use, and then you have to resolve. Then, yeah, there's also, like, you know, the synergy between the linkages. Like, do I continue to link up? Or do I put, like, a stray card in some corner zone and waggle my finger going, yeah, you can't completely clear my board? Things like that. It's cool. I think this is really cool. And so on round 2, right, player 2 gets to play the first card. And even then, right? Say it's round 3, player 1 has the first card. Player 1 can say, I pass, right? And player 2 gets to play their cards. You know, usually you would pass if you have the advantage on the board. Because you don't have to react. Well, no, it's not because you don't have to react, because you don't have to do anything to keep on winning. You have a winning board. It will keep you winning, so you can keep that board state. Hand trap. Hand trap. All the hand traps. Yes. All the hand traps. It's lovely, isn't it? And this way, I think it really promotes interaction, because you want. It promotes you going, no, I have this other card. And it really makes you sweat when you play a card and your opponent passes. They're waiting for you to do something else. It's like, uh-oh. Well, no, actually, it's not passes. It's when your opponent says, I don't have a response. Because you're still holding priority. You're still holding card, right? It's only when you pass, then your opponent gets to play their cards. And then you get to react to them. Yeah. Oh man, that is so cool. That is such a cool game mechanic. Nod. Yes. I'm not. Hi, not this. Yeah, hi. Oh, this is so cool. I think I really like this. I like this a lot. Then, to top that off, we have this thing, right? I think that system is good enough. Good enough. It sounds really cool. The core is all there already. So now we have to talk about the elephant in the room, the paradox mechanic, the 3x3x3 grid that you play in, the monstrosity that is this weird cube, time and space cube. I like it. I love it. It's terrible. It makes things so much more complex because you move all of your cards from each layer onto the next layer every round. Which becomes a problem because, say, player 1 won the exchange at the bottom layer, right? And on the next round, that layer is now in the middle layer. So you're like, okay, that's a little bit dangerous. Player 1 has the opportunity to either start another board on the bottom layer, or continue expanding on the middle layer, right? And then player 2 needs to either counterplay, like try and destroy the middle layer to get an advantage on the top layer, or they can soak up the middle layer and then deal with the bottom layer and try to vie for advantage on that bottom layer so that the next layer goes up. And oh my gosh, it's crazy. Oh, the mind games, I love it so much. Oh, that's amazing. That is crazy good. Field cards that only affect one time plane. Oh, field cards! Oh my gosh, field cards. Field cards. Oh goodness. Okay, Okay. No. no, wait, yes. Okay, field cards that only affect one time, yes. So each time plane will have its own field card. I think, yes, that's really good. And you can overwrite a field card by playing your own field card. But this way, you have this, like, middle layer of field cards, right? And so field cards can very much tilt the plane to your advantage. I really like that idea. Yes. That's great. And so you can overwrite your opponent's field with your own field card, which is important if you want to keep that advantage going. Oh man. Yes, and playing a field card also costs resources. Which lets us do so much more. Oh my goodness, it's... Yes, this is great. Because the field card can sort of define, like, the space, right? It's defining the space. Field card. Field card per space, per time, per plane, right? So say you can have like a battlefield or a war field card, or like a, I don't know, Flowering Meadows field card, or like a Jurassic Age field card, right? You can shift the time planes that way. You know what would be really cool? You could have a dinosaur archetype that is very bottom heavy, right? The field cards for it can only be placed at the very bottom layer. Oh, that would be so cool. Wait, but should the field cards move? Oh, the field cards should also move up in time. Yes, that also makes sense. But yeah, you can... each of the, like, dinosaur cards say you can only play this at the bottom layer, right? And then... Oh, that is so cool, because, like, you know, you have to start at the very beginning, right? Jurassic Age. Oh, that sounds so cool. That sounds like a really cool archetype already. You know, the bottom heavy dinosaur field. Oh my gosh. And it just puts so much pressure onto the opponent, right? You can either play their game, which is, you know, trying to beat down the dinosaurs at the bottom level, or you can start building things at the middle field and try to work something out with that, right? Oh. And of course, the one weakness of the dinosaurs will be AoE effects, right? Like a meteor, like a meteorite, like an asteroid, you know, field wipes. They are very weak to field wipes. Oh, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. It's all coming together. Oh my gosh. I think if you want... Oh, okay, and oh, we have time. Okay, of course, when you have time planes, you need the time traveler archetype, right? So I think one of the time fields that I might want is bottom. Let me know. Bottom heavy. Bottom heavy dinos. And then you have time travelers, right? And time traveling cards have a cost effect, right? Time travel is going to be a key word. Time travel. Pay X to move players. To move one layer. To move one plane. Okay. What this does is it gives you a cost. You have to, take up your resources to keep that card in play. Which is effectively like playing the card again. Right? Except it's a little bit cheaper. Because it's not like you're duplicating the card or anything. You're just moving it around, which gives it staying power. Oh man, that is so cool. So, yeah. Time traveler, okay. See, like, I put a time traveler in the bottom layer, right? And then on the next turn, it moves to the top layer. Well, it moves to the middle layer. And you're like, okay, I can time travel. I can pay this cost to move it back to the bottom layer. And that enables me to build a stronger bottom heavy deck. Or maybe I can go like, okay, well, I'm actually going to... I can like make a full layer of like time travelers. I can set that up in the middle layer. Or like, yeah, I can set up in the middle layer, force my opponent to play cards in the middle layer to counter that. And then on the next turn, I can... everyone's at the top layer, right? But I can shift all my time travelers down to the middle layer again. And it's like, oh my gosh, I know I have to fight that. I have an empty, like, top board. Or I have an empty middle board. I mean, but you emptied out your top board as well, so their top field is gonna, like, hit you hard, but your middle field is also gonna hit them hard. And it also has staying power, too. So that's huge advantage. Or you could even, if you had enough resources, right? You could play cards, you could play time traveler cards in the middle field, right? Forcing your opponent, or you can play time traveler cards at the top field, forcing your opponent to try and counter that at the top field, and then you can just, use resources on that same turn to shift them back down. And so he's like, oh, that's free damage, sort of, not really. Oh, and a top heavy mech deck. Oh my gosh. Top heavy mech deck. Top heavy mechs. Oh my gosh. Oh, that would be so cool. Oh. Really high power mechs, right? Peak up technology. Just, they hit hard, they're big, right? The issue is they only stay on the field for one turn. That's the issue. You could mix the top layer heavy mechs with the time traveler cards. And you could get some really, really nasty combos going. Oh, like what if you had a time traveler that could pay like extra to shift the mech down a layer? Like, it would be like, pay X to move a unit to a layer, right? Up or down a layer. To move one plane, and where X is the cost of that unit, right? So it's like, you're effectively paying extra to resummon and reshuffle it. But because of how powerful the mechs are, it makes sense that you want to keep them down there, around there. Oh, or you could, use that extra resource, use those extra resources to summon another mech. Oh, that is so cool. And I think bottom heavy dinos, I think they should grow weaker. Weaker as time passes. Weaker in upper. Weaker in upper layers. Weaker in upper planes. Right? So, earlier I mentioned things like what's it called? Like a soldier that grows over time with experience, goes from 1/1 to 2/2 to 4/4, depending on how long it stays, right? Weaker. Oh, actually, I should just say weaker as they stay. Weaker as they stay, right? So bottom heavy dinos grow weaker as they stay, right? So the inverse happens. Say you have like a 5/5 dino here, which is like super heavy, but then it goes up into the next layer and it becomes a 3/3. And by the time it goes to the highest layer, it's like, you know, a 1/1 lizard. Yeah, I think like evolution, except backwards. Oh, forwards in time, but like backwards in power and size and strength. Oh, the mechanics make sense. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. This is so cool. My goodness. What other archetypes? What other like really stupid archetypes? I mean, I guess the time travelers. Yeah, oh, I mean, yes, the soldier archetype, right? Growth archetype. Soldier experience. XP. Well, we can call them EXP soldiers, actually. The EXP soldier archetype. And then we can also have... what else? Mages? Fairies? Magic? It's fantasy. I mean, really anything goes. Yeah, tricksters. Time travel. Not so much time travel, but more space travel. Space travel, you're right. Space shufflers, right? Relocation. Right? Instead of time, right? You have the space shuffle. So combine time travel with space shuffle and you get the full team of like moving around the entire grid. But by paying resources, you can you can transport one of your units to a different spot in the plane. And this is really helpful because you can avoid certain big monsters that your opponent summons, right? You can rearrange your links for different bonuses. And you can also avoid AoE effects. So like you have all your like units clumped up, and your opponent plays a nuke in that location. You can get your space shuffle, and you can spread them out to avoid that. Of course, it uses up your resources, so you are sacrificing all of that link. But you are also losing all of those link bonuses. But it's better than just completely losing all of your units. So that is really cool. A straightforward one for the middle layer. Oh. Straightforward deck. What kind of straightforward deck would it be? What is exactly straightforward? Like, just I play the middle layer, you know, you have to play the middle layer, or you kind of just get busted. Or is like a middle layer only, right? Because I guess like mechs are kind of like it's the straightforward top layer, like dinosaurs are the straightforward bottom layer. I guess we're talking like the straightforward middle layer. I kind of want to say maybe psychics, like ESP stuff. Well, maybe that might be like too much on like the top layer, maybe, because like ESP stuff kind of works better with mechs. So, straightforward. Middle layer. That's kind of... That is kind of rough, huh? Like, what's good at the middle layer? What makes the middle layer so powerful? It's like the control zone. Oh, I missed this. Parallel dimension in addition to the time aspect. No, no, I don't... No. Oh, man. That would be terrible. Parallel dimensions? Oh man, we're gonna be going off about what's it, like metaverse is next. No. Modern near future military warfare. Oh. Okay, it's not fantastical enough. Like, that is so boring. What are you playing? Gun. I cast a gun. Yeah. You know, guy with gun. Yeah, that's my guy. What? 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 Why? That's so boring. Okay, what if I played a girl with gun? You know, robot girl with gun. Okay, maybe you're talking now. We could put robot girls with guns. You're right. And that is on the nose firepower. With maybe a little bit of like relocation possibility, right? But the question is, why should they be on the bottom layer? Sorry, why should they be in the middle layer? What's stopping you from like just putting them at the bottom layer, right? Because regardless, you want them to kind of have staying power. Is it like a bonus if you're in the middle layer? Is that why you want to play them there? I guess? Like, what kind of bonus do you get from just being in, you know, a middle layer? 'Cause the middle is sort of like everything in between. I don't know. It's kind of hard. I feel like it is that intermediate plane. Straightforward. Kind of hard to make it as straightforward. And the middle layer is actually the least straightforward of them all. Like, time travelers love to sit there, I think. They could shuffle up or they could shuffle down. You don't know. Why would you shuffle a time traveler upward? I don't know. Maybe it's a lethal blow. Right? Oh man, yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of out of ideas on that. I'll have to go through that later, but I think if we're talking about archetypes, we have the EXP soldier, we have the top heavy mechs, we have the bottom heavy dinosaurs, we have the time travel and the space shuttle mechanics. I don't know, I think about like really powerful effects, like game changing, like game ending effects, like the time lock field spell, right? Where you lock this field in. The field below it disappears when it moves up, right? That field just becomes locked in, nothing changes. So if you played that, that would be really powerful for top heavy mechs. It would also be powerful for bottom heavy dinosaurs, because they would not move, right? They don't move up, if that's the case. I guess it shouldn't be a field spell. It should be, what's it called? Because that's just way too powerful, actually, now that I think about it. It should be like a one-time cast. So it's like a sorcery, right? You play it and you're like, this plane gets locked for this round. Right? Something like that. It's definitely a game changer. But I don't think it should be a field spell. Because that's like a huge lockdown. Yeah, no, okay, yeah. I got it, yeah. Things like that, okay. Yeah, oh wow, this is a lot. Artifact to stay on a layer for a resource rather than shut. Oh, you're right. Oh yeah. Staying power, right. We can have a stay mechanic, right? Stay mechanic. Yes, that would actually be, what's it called? That would be sort of like a time travel ability. Because everything progresses through time here, right? But by staying, you aren't moving through time. You're actually resisting that. Maybe it could be called, I don't know, an archetype that's like time resistors or the Eternals. So they just kind of stay there, the Eternals. That sounds so cool. The Eternals. Yeah, so with this, you are locked in and you do have to pay a resource, be it like discarding a card or like the mana cost or whatnot. And it has to be done at the end of the round. So on the shifting phase, right, the progression phase, where all the cards move up, you can therefore pay a card to stay. Yes. Then you could also have something like, oh, this gets really nasty. You know, you can have things like an eternal engine, which is sort of like an equip, where you kind of just place it down on the field, right? And whatever it links to gets the stay ability, right? It gets the stay keyword, along with the engine, I think. That gets pretty nasty, doesn't it? Oh, wow. That's powerful. Crazy. Oh man, I really like this. I really like this. I'm gonna think of one last thing that I can probably do with this, and then we can call it a day. Just one last thing. One last thing. What do we not have? What do we not have? Progression. Maybe... not an archetype. What would be a cool archetype that uses... The power of friendship. Absolutely. The lamest but greatest of them all. Power of friendship. Power of friendship. It's so magical, girls. Really, it's... Yes, so magical girls. Yes, magical girls. It's very, what's it called? Link heavy. I want this to be the link heavy archetype, where you get really good, really powerful buffs from linking with each other. And you don't want them to be separated, I think. In fact, with the dinosaurs, I might actually have effects like, what's it called? Sacrifice a dinosaur, right? Predation. With, like, sacrifice a linked dinosaur to become stronger. Or, like, a must-have. Things like, sacrifice a linked dinosaur, or this dinosaur disappears, right? Or, if this dinosaur is linked, it can't attack, right? With the mechs, I think they also can't be as link heavy due to their short staying capabilities. Well, no, actually they could be a lot link heavier as well. Because we are designing them with 0 staying power in mind, they can link up for very powerful effects as well. Yeah, no, that does make sense, yeah. So, because of that, that's a very good cost, consider. Opportunity cost, right. Yeah, the power of friendship. And the power of friendship may or may not transcend time. So you might have, like, oh, that could be like a new keyword. What is it? Time link, right? Time link. Oh. You can have time link. So, time link effectively means that your link affects the layers above and around, which is really cool. And then you can actually start playing huge 3D chess, right? So say I put like a magical girl in the center here, and she has like a full linkage around. And then I can actually say, okay, well, I'm gonna put magical girls here, you know, here, and here, right? I'm gonna deploy them on the layer above. And they get buffs from her at the bottom layer. Oh, yeah, that is cool. The time link. The friendship that transcends time. Hope that transcends time. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Alright, that's a really cool archetype. I think, yeah, that is all. That is good. That will be all for today. I've been your host, Not. And wherever you are, have a good rest of your cards that go in reverse. Let me add that. Cards that reverse cards. Reverse cards. That will be all for today. I've been your host, Not, and wherever you are, have a good rest of your day. Oh, it's not just that. Thank you for all the crazy card game ideas. Later, dork. Yeah, later, dork.